Hello, today we are going to learn how to take a big file and turn it into a small file. So the big file we're going to use is the poster, and the small file is the banner for Voice America. So here we go. I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to go to Photoshop. Here we go. And we're going to go to Photoshop. And you see here I have my banner file open, and if we look at the size of this file, it's 90 pixels tall by 728 pixels wide. And I also have my bars classes poster up. And if I go there and look at the size, then it's 3,300 pixels by 2207 pixels. So what I'm going to want to do is take the words and essential words and images from this poster and put it into this banner. So the first thing I want to do is to create a new group, because each of these groups here in this banner file is a separate banner. So I'll just take the most recent layer, and I'll click, I'll hold the control key on the Mac, and on the PC I would right click and hold the control key. I might just be able to right click here on the PC and get this menu called duplicate group. So I'm going to duplicate the group here. The only reason we're doing this is to create a new folder. Now, once I'm inside this folder, I can turn off the elements by just turning the eyeballs off here, so that I'm here, and then make sure that I've got one of the layers that's selected is inside this this group or this folder. So now I'm going to go back to my bars classes, the bars poster, and I'm going to first take over the image. What I'll do then is right click and hold the right click on the image. Say I'm going to hold the command key and right click on the PC, and hold the command key and control key on the Mac. And you'll see that there's several objects here. None of these look like good candidates because there's QR code type, logo, green bands, upper band, that's not it. Curves and hue, but this image looks like it might have once been an image that came off of someone's phone. I'm going to select that one, and it selects something here in the layers menu. I'll turn it off and then back on again to verify that this is in fact the layer that I want to bring over to my other file. So once again, I'm going to hold down my control key and right click on the PC. I'll hold my control and command keys down on the Mac and duplicate layer. Now, I could duplicate the layer and it would just end up in the same file, right? This is the destination document here. But what I'm going to do is copy it to my banners folder. And this is in my other file, and I can actually rename it and call it picture. This way I'll be able to identify it when it gets over there. So it's done it. I can't tell that anything has happened. But now when I go back to my banners, I see that something has changed here. And I'm going to hold down my command key and spacebar and option key. You just replace the command key with the control key if you're on a PC. So it would be control, spacebar, and alt key on the PC. I'm going to make it really small because you'll see why in just a moment. And make sure that the image is still selected in the layers menu here, right? So that I can see it and it's selected. And then I'm going to go up to the menu and choose transform, free transform, or command T. And you'll see here is the outline of my file, and you can see that in fact I've got to get even further out to get the whole image, because remember how much larger the poster image was than the banner. So I'm going to now take the corner, because I'm in free transform, and I'm going to hold down the shift key to make sure that my image is constrained. If I don't hold down my shift key, then my image can go all sorts of wanky sizes, and I don't want that. So I just hold down the shift key and it constrains my file. And once it gets down a little bit smaller, I'm going to go ahead and zoom in. Right? If you forget the command keys for zoom in, it's under View, and you can just zoom in this way by selecting in the menu. So now I can see that I've got a little bit of an image, and I want that image, actually, I don't want it to be too cut off because I can't tell what's going on, so I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. And also, I can't get her whole face in there, so I'm going to notice that if I go up to the corner here and I get my cursor a little distance away from the corner, it turns into this sort of curved double arrow, and that means that I can rotate it. So now I'm starting to get an image that looks good inside my banner. I can just keep adjusting it like this in I want to make it a little bit smaller because I still want to be able to tell what's going on. There, something like that. So this gives us the image in the left-hand side and a little bit of space over on the right-hand side to be able to put some words. And so when I'm done with my free transform, I just click the return key, and there my transformation has happened. And now I want to go back and just look at what words I want to bring over. So I want to bring over access, consciousness, bars, and ecstasy, because we want to know what the class is, and we want to know some word about it. And then we're going to put a message about what we want the user or the viewer to do once they see this banner. So now I'm going to go back to the banner, and instead of copying and pasting this text from here, I'm just going to go to here and enter it. So I want to select my type tool right here, and then I want to just click once, and I want to go access, consciousness, bars, class, because the person that's looking at it might not know that it's a class. And then I want to make it smaller. So I can do that in a number of ways, but one of the ways that I can do that if I'm in the text tool is to just triple click to make sure that that all of the text is selected, and then click my character submenu inside the little toolbar here. And let me show you how you get that from the menu. So if I go here, I can select my character menu from there as well. So I want to make it smaller. It's now 36 points. I want to make it maybe 20 points. Still not big and still too small. All right, so now I'm going to look at my file at 100%. Right, you can tell that by looking right up here. It's 100% now, and it looks like the type is still too small. So I'm gonna I need more room for my type. So I'm gonna now move my picture over. So I'm gonna get out of the type tool, and I do that when I'm in the type tool by clicking Control or Command and then Return, and that gets us out of that text mode. Go back up and select my Select tool from the menu here. This is the rectangular marquee tool. And then I'm going to keep my, I'm going to right click and hold down the Control key and click on the area where the picture is, because that's what I want to move. And you'll see over here in the layers menu, it changed from the type tool, the type layer, to the picture layer. So I just want to move my picture over a little bit, and maybe I want to free transform it a little bit more to make it a little smaller. Just adjust it a little bit more. This gives us a little bit more room for the words, and I hit return when I'm done. And remember, if we're using certain terms for access consciousness, we have to put the registered trademark in them. So I'm going to go back to my type tool, and I'm going to select right there. First, I'm going to make sure that my name is spelled right, consciousness. And access consciousness bars is a registered trademark. So we want to enter the R circle with holding down the Option key and the R key. And that puts in our little access consciousness. So now I have a little bit more room for this, and I can triple click it, make sure it's all selected. 24 points is still too big. Let's go back down to 20. There we go. So there's access consciousness bars class. And remember, the other word that we had over there was ecstasy. So we're going to type that word in. Okay, and it's we want that to be a little bit bigger. So let's make this a little bigger, maybe 30 points, maybe even 36 points. And then we want to make sure that it's got enough room, because see, as we made the type bigger, it started to walk over this other type. So then we go back to the menu, and here's the type size on the left and the line space or the leading on the right. So I've got 36. Let's try it at 36. Same amount of leading. It's a little bit too far away. So I'm going to go back to maybe 32. Yeah, that's more like it. And then I want to, underneath this, I want to maybe have a 24-point line. 20-point line that says, oops. There we go. 20-point line that maybe says, click here, or actually click for more information. And we maybe want it a little bit over to the side here. We also want it to seem like a link, because we want to make sure that it looks like something's clickable in the window. So you choose your character menu again, or character window again, and then click this button, which creates an underline. That's not going to really work because we've just spaced. I'll show you what's the problem here. See, because we started out over on the left there and entered extra spaces, we've got an underline that goes all the way across the bottom of the banner, and that's not going to work for us. So we simply select it here, and let's see if no, that's not going to work either. Okay, so the way that we have to deal with this is we'll just simply put this on a different layer. So the way that you can do that is to click that Command or Control X for for copying it, and then making sure that you're not in the same layer. Again, that trick with holding down the Control or Command key and clicking Return. And now, if I'm still in the Type tool, I'll be able to click somewhere, and it will create a new layer. See, it just created a new layer in the Layers menu, and I can click Paste or Command V or Control V, and then I can move this type layer around by right-clicking and holding it down and repositioning it. So now I'm going to do that Control or Command Return so that I can check it out. I think I remember that there was an exclamation point after ecstasy. Now I'm going to look at this at 100% again. Get out of this type layer. Almost, but I'm not happy with this sharp line right here between the names and the image. So what I want to do is basically mask this image off. So I'll go over to my Layers menu, choose my picture layer again, and I want to create a mask. So you do that by clicking this square with the circle inside of it down here while you're in the layer that you want to create the mask in. So I'm clicking that right now, and you see this little layer right here showed up to the right of the picture. So you can either be on the picture and do things, or on the mask and do things. And so what a mask does is it uses black areas to mask or remove the image while not damaging the image, right? You're not actually affecting the image, you're just affecting whether it's visible or not. So first make sure that your white dotted line is around the mask and not around the image. Then choose your gradient tool from over here and make sure down here that you are white on the front and black in the back. And then since we're starting this gradient from, oh, and then you want to make sure that your gradient is set to black and white up here. So since we want white to be the visible image and blue and black to be the invisible part, we want to take the gradient tool and we want to just draw a line from where we want it to be visible to where we want it to be invisible. Whoops, wrong direction. If you do it in the wrong direction, you just do it in the other direction and see what happens. So we can test it a couple of times just to see if it looks good. This is looking, it's looking better. And look, now that we've done this, it looks like we have a little extra room over here on the right. We might want to adjust our type layers, right? Our click for more information is probably okay, but our access consciousness bars class and ecstasy could potentially be moved over a little bit to appear even. And look, there we've got a banner that looks almost like we want it to. And when I'm happy with the way that I want my banner to look, the first thing I'll do is just save the document. So now we've saved this new layer. If I want to clean up, I can select these invisible layers that I'm not using in this group, and I can erase them. And now if I turn this group on and off, that's the work that I just did, and I can call it bars. You can call this group bars class, and that way I'll know which banner I'm looking at if I turn this layer on. So now I'll save it again, which you always want to do before you export, and then I want to save for web in Photoshop. And just a relatively high quality is good. And I just click save, and it lets me name the file. So it already says banners Lisa Cooney, and I'm now going to select the date and enter bars class. You want to put dashes in between the lines here, or in between the words here, because if the JPEG is going to appear online, it's going to put those in anyway. So if you put spaces in here, then Photoshop will just fill these in with dashes anyway. So I'm already in my Dr. Lisa Cooney file, and I can now save this image. And now you've created your banner from your poster. Hope this was helpful. Thank you so much, and see you next time.